Hello, rail fans and model railroaders. Boulder Creek Yard here, coming at you with a update on my main layout. With a lot of the stuff that's been going on with like the NMRA and all that, I haven't really been making videos too much because I've just been very busy and kind of burned out. I also went back to working in the office a couple days a week, so that's taken a lot of my time away. However, I did get a chance to do quite a bit of the base scenery over here on the southern end of my layout. And if you hear any like popping or mechanical noises, I apologize. It's my 3D printer. Sometimes it gets a little loud. But I'm printing some stuff for offset Silicon Valley lines tonight. Anyways, with the NMRA convention, the remote ops for that, and just being otherwise burned out from the NMRBO contest, I just haven't had a real drive to make videos, but I figured I'd give you one today to show you what I've done. So, you see back here on this hill, the last time you saw this was probably during my initial layout tour. It was just the base coat of paint and a little bit of sculpt-a-mold and such. But since then, I've gotten a lot of the ground cover on, which is actual dirt from outside, sifted, and I baked it to dry it out. It doesn't really have too much in it that was, alive and could grow mold. A lot of this is from the area where the fire swept through, so it got sterilized on its own anyway. You can see I've got some of the base trails put in. This trail up here is just going to kind of be walking through the mountains. I should have left a little bit more of a ledge there to create a path, but it'll end somewhere over there. It's all going to be trees and just kind of like a nature preserve park on the hillside. I'm also going to have a nice little water feature right in here, and I'll show you what I did over here. Move that out of the way. Filled in a lot of the static grass, and then I also got the spillway installed. You can kind of still see some of the Gorilla Glue that I used, but I figure I'll fill that in a little bit better once the water is actually in. So as you move back, there's a nice little path that's just going to kind of disappear into some trees back here. And I got to figure out where I want to put the fence. Probably kind of just come around this area somewhere here. But I haven't figured that all out yet. I'm also not quite sure what I want to do with that wall. I'm probably going to end up just taking a sheet of styrene and making it look like cement and put it up there so it's like a cement wall or something like that. And as you can see, Bob over here getting out of his bobcat. Then I got a lot more of the base scenery done. As we move more over towards the left, I've kind of filled in the area between the tracks with ballast, although I did all of the ballast for the most part. I ran out of what I was using, so I don't have the last foot or two of the layout done. But other than that, I've got it all kind of installed, and I've started to go through and actually detail it. Now, I kind of had this idea of there's going to be a big puddle that moves through here over to the left, and this is just kind of a bare area right there where some water had puddled at some point in the past. After I came up with this idea, I was just kind of randomly searching around for photos online and ran into something down in Colton Yard in Southern California that has a very similar look to this. So it's always kind of interesting to see those things that you model and aren't quite sure if they're real come to life. Same with this kind of curvy track right there. The way that came about was I didn't realize it, but I laid two different turnouts, one on this side and one over to the left. They're both different numbers. So the track that I laid in the middle here kind of has that weird little curve to it. And I also found another photo of that where you can actually see that happening in real life. So, I didn't think it was quite prototypical, but it turns out, yeah, it is. There's a prototype for everything. So I showed you that water that runs over the spillway over there. I'm going to cut this section of foam out and put in a culvert up in here with a drain for water, and that's basically where the water is going to come out on this side of the layout. I have another one of those over here to the left, and it's going to look somewhat similar to this one. However, with this one, I don't have a spot modeled for the input to this culvert right here. It's just the output. It's going to come from somewhere off the other side of the layout. It's kind of what I came up with. But as you can see, more of the ballast is done. And this little boggy area in here, it's just going to be little thin pour of water, like it had just pooled between the tracks at some point. And, you know, I wasn't quite sure if they would have filled in a big section of land like that with different colored ballast over here, but, you know, as I said, prototype for everything. I found photos where a siding will have completely different ballast because they came through and reballasted it with different grade of ballast, or it was cheaper, came from a different source, etc. That's also kind of what I ran into over here. You could see how the ballast is two different colors right there. I thought I grabbed the same stuff. They're both UP ballast, but turns out I grabbed the wrong one. And you can also find examples of that in real life. I haven't really done too much more over on this side of the layout. Just because, you know, despite not being finished, it was actually, you know, mostly passable at this point. Although one thing I've decided that I'm going to do is I've got all this ground foam over here, and, you know, that's what I did early on for my ground cover before I started doing the dirt. And I'm kind of fighting with myself on whether or not I want to keep that. It doesn't really look realistic, but the idea behind why I might keep it is it kind of be a progression of my modeling ability here. Like this building in the back here. Not a very good building overall, but it's one of the early ones that I did, and I'm definitely planning on keeping it around despite not having a lot of detail and being kind of cheaper and unpainted plastic. Just to kind of showcase, like, here's where I started, and here's where I'm going. So I'm thinking that's maybe why I'll keep the ground foam over on this side, and have the other side be the more realistic materials. But I may change my mind on that later, we'll see. That said, I think we're going to do just a short op session. Basically building a train. A couple cars long. It took me forever to get my layout running. I wasn't getting power to the tracks for some reason, and I checked over all the wiring and the PySprog and all that fun stuff, and like an hour and a half later, after getting frustrated and pulling out the multimeter and stuff, I found that I had a pin laying across the end of the track way on the other side that I just somehow missed. So that was fun. Anyway, on with the show. So we have our GP40 here, and what I'm going to do is we've got to pick up two flat cars over here and a box car that is off over to the left. I got to put them out on the main line. However, there's already a car at the back of this engine, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull it up a little. And we're going to run around it. Also, Bob is no longer a construction worker. He's back on the railroad today. Alright, so Bob is going to get out and he's going to change our switch over here and watch this other car run away on us because my layout isn't perfectly level. Everybody gets the point with the bell. Oop, hit that a little hard. So we're going to get clear of the switch. And Bob will get out and unhook us. Maybe. Yeah. Alright. Now Bob's going to get off and walk to the bath. Alright, so Bob will get out and hook us up. Oop, Bob's a little sleepy. And there we have it. Just a little simple op session. Hope the camera work wasn't too bad. And I hope the audio is alright. I'll talk to you later. Boulder Creek Yard out.